So in the previous session, we have started with the chapter, The 100 Dresses, Part 1, from the book First Flight for Class 10th. In this chapter, we have got to know about the discrimination done by the American children to a Polish girl named Wanda. Here we have got to know that this girl was very isolated. She avoided being a part of these children. She wanted to be away from them, and that's why she chose the corner of the class to sit. But still, these children used to be near her and they used to make fun of her. And to hold the situation, Vanda always used to say that yes, she is having 100 dresses and 60 pair of shoes. So the other children were surprised that how a girl who is wearing the same blue dress every day can say that she is having 100 dresses. What is the story behind? So let's proceed further. Oh no, every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. So this was the statement given by Vanda every time she was being asked about her pair of shoes. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend. Why she was inseparable? Because she was along with Peggy in every if and then. Were always the last to leave. Finally, Vanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitched her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to the school alone. So this girl was so alone, so sad. Her eyes were always dull with sadness. She never used to speak anything, but she always used to move her shoulder now and then in a funny way. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bully, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Vanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody would tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. So actually, Peggy was not that kind of girl the way she behaved. She was always against cruelty. She was always against bullying. But why she behaved in such a way with Vanda? Well, that was because she used to think that Vanda is lying to her. She was always in the situation that Vanda would have told us that I don't have dresses. So why she is lying to us? And the name which she is having that shows that she is not an ordinary person. She seems to be something very special. So this was the way why every time Peggy used to ask the question, because maybe she wanted to know more about Vanda. As for Maddie, this business of asking Vanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and how many that's was just an instruction given to her. Was bothering her. Maddie was not so much sensitive for Vanda. She was just asking these questions because she wanted to bother Vanda. Whereas Peggy wanted to know the exact reason that why Vanda was lying. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Now, hand-me-down clothes and the old clothes which are given to poors. Okay, when the clothes are not more in use, they are being given to poor people. So Maddie herself was very poor. She never had a new cloth of her own. She always used to wear the clothes which were hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she did not live up on Bogging Heights or have a funny name. But she was happy that she was not living in a place where Vanda used to live. And she was also happy that her name was not like Vanda. So that was the reason she was not being bullied or she was not being humiliated by the classmates. Sometimes when Peggy was asking Vanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand. rolling them around and saying nothing herself. So whenever Peggy used to ask these questions to Vanda, at times it happened that Mandy used to feel sad. Why? Because she was also poor. So she used to hold small pebbles, small marbles in her hand, and she used to roll it out. So this movement shows that she was not feeling okay. She was confused. Okay. Not that she felt sorry for Vanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Vanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next, she wasn't as poor as Vanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Vanda Petronsky. So actually, why Mandy was worried was she was scared that the way Peggy and other children in the class are bullying or are teasing Vanda, she was scared that they might start doing the same thing with her. Because although she was not as poor as Vanda, but she was poor. So this was her insecurity that actually told her not to be a part of it. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Vanda. She worked her arithmetic problem absent-mindedly. So actually, the day Peggy and Maddie were absent because they were waiting for Vanda to come, Maddie was happy. Why she was happy? Although she was late to school, she was happy because that day she did not make fun of Vanda. She was doing her arithmetic maths problems, but she was not attentive. She was doing it absent-mindedly. 8 times 8. Let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note. So she wanted to tell Peggy that stop doing that. Stop asking the questions of dresses, hats, and shoes from Vanda because she was insecure. She knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, hey, Peg, let's stop asking Vanda how many dresses she has. So she was thinking of writing a note to Peggy to stop doing this. When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly, she paused and shuddered. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and the Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones, and Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with. So now, actually, when she was writing, she could visualize that the same questions are being asked by Mandy. So Maddie was thinking that if I'm going to tell Peggy not to ask these questions for Vanda, it might happen that she will start asking these questions from her. So she stopped writing. She decided not to write. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Vanda. So she was thinking that Peggy should stop doing it herself. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonded hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits and notes she had started. So she tore the pages into small pieces and she threw it because she decided not to write anything to Peggy because she was scared that if she's going to take the side of Vanda, Peggy might start doing the same thing with her. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Whole room means the whole class. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. So Maddie was thinking that Peggy is such a wanted girl in the class. Everybody likes her. So why she would do something that is wrong? As for Vanda, she was just some girl who lived up on Bogging Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with color trimming, and she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green. with a red sash. You would look like a Christmas tree in that, the girl had said in pretended admiration. So Maddie is recalling the conversation of Peggy with her. Thinking about Wanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consisted of designing dresses, and for boys, of designing motorbikes. So there was a competition going to be organized in the school where girls were supposed to design dresses and boys were supposed to design motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that's what everybody thought. So everybody used to think that Peggy was rich. She had number of dresses and she does the drawing very well. So everybody was thinking that Peggy is going to win the competition. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. So she was good at it. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners. Then they would know. The next day, it was drizzling. So it was a very slight rainfall going on. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they did not wait for Wanda. So they did not decide to wait for Wanda to make fun of her. They hurried to the school on the corner of the Oliver Street. So this was the place where every day these two girls used to wait for Wanda. The street that far, far away under the railroad track and up the hill led to bogging heights. Anyway, they were not taking chance on being late today because today was important. And why today was important? Because it was the day when the result was being announced, that who is the winner of designing dresses. Do you think Miss Masson will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. So Miss Masson is a teacher. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie, of course you will win, Peg. So Maddie gave a statement to Peg that you are going to be the winner. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly. So although she was also excited, but she was also sure to win. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped, shot, and gasped. Now, what happened inside that suddenly they stopped? And why they took such a deep breath? There was drawing all over the room, on every ledge and window sill, dazzling colors and brilliant, lavishing designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping papers. There must have been 100 of them, all lined up. These must be the drawing for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled and murmured admiringly. So they were they were nearly 100 pictures of dresses hanged all over the class, and everybody was surprised. They stopped, they whistled, and they admired those dresses because all the dresses were beautifully designed. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Masson announced the winner. Jack Bagels had won for the boys, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in the room 12, along with a sketch by all the other boys. As for the girls, she said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most, one girl and room 13 should be proud of her. This one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, only one of the drawing is worthy of winning the prize. I am very happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. Very shocking announcement done by Mrs. Masson. Unfortunately, Wanda has been absent from school for some days, but Wanda was not present to enjoy this moment and is not here to receive the applause that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may fill around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawing. So everybody was looking at different dresses drawn by Vanda. The children burst into applause, and even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, put their fingers in their mouth and whistle, because they were getting a chance to cheer up. They were not interested in dresses. They were just enjoying the moment, roaming here and there. Look, Beck, whispered Maddie. There's that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy. And here's that green one. Boy, and I thought I could draw. So actually, finally, with this drawing, Vanda has proved that yes, she was having 100 dresses of different colors and designs. To know more about it, to get to know what further would have happened, we will get to the next chapter, the 100 dresses, part 2. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you.